Welcome back to Autoimmune Adventures. There's something about this time of year, this long season of light in the darkness, that invites us to breathe a little deeper and reconnect with what lifts our spirits. Whether people are celebrating Christmas, Hanukkah, Yule, Kwanzaa, or simply honoring the turning of the year, light is always at the center of it. Candles, twinkle lights, fireplaces, quiet reflection. And woven right into that glow is something equally powerful: music. Music is ancient, it's grounding, it's healing. The resonance, the vibration, the way the sound moves through our bodies, it's not just an emotional thing, it's physical. It centers and settles our nervous system. It shifts our mood, it brings back memories that we didn't even know that we needed. And during the holidays, especially for those living with chronic illness or autoimmune conditions, music can become a companion, a sort of comfort and a bridge to joy. So today's episode is all about that kind of light, how music brings it back into our lives. And in a little bit, we'll be welcoming the amazing Annie Toro Lopez, who's joining us to talk about the healing power of holiday music and sound. But first, before we bring Annie in, we want to share some of our own favorite holiday music, the songs that bring us comfort, joy, and maybe a little nostalgia. Can you start us off, Alicia?
Yes, thank you, Stace. You are so right. I feel like music is really like the heartbeat of the season. And for me, holiday music has always been tied to connection, whether that is connection to my family or connection to memories, those little emotional moments that we don't always talk about. And those songs, they just kind of wrap around you like a warm blanket. And every year I find myself returning to the same ones over and over. So my very favorite old one that I listened to growing up on a record player was Marshmallow World by Johnny Mathis. Johnny Mathis has my heart. He is the Christmas music king. So that one always makes me happy. It always makes me remember like that sense of magic that I had about Christmas when I was a child. And then the one that has become my more recent favorite is called Ring the Bells. And it is by a woman named Hillary Weeks. She is not a relation to us, but I've loved her music for years. And that song in particular, I've loved from the first time I heard it. And my kids now have grown up hearing that one. So those songs that just kind of bring you back into a good headspace for the season, whether it is bringing you back to like that sense of childhood wonder or family memories that you have, or a song that just reminds you of what the season is all about. I love that. So I'm a big Christmas music fan. I start listening really early. What about you, Beck?
Well, you know me. I like music that feels like comfort food, I guess. It's also a big tradition for me and a big part of my holiday. And I love to listen to music on my baking days, when I'm wrapping presents, if I'm going on drives, all the times. Like I'm preparing for a family gathering here in the next couple of days, and I'm totally going to be listening to Christmas music while I clean. That's kind of, it becomes my life soundtrack during like November, December. But some of my favorite songs, Alicia mentioned Johnny Mathis. We had a lot of Christmas records, but that was one as kids that we just adored. And growing up, my favorite modern, like more modern, I guess, it's old now, I guess, but my favorite song on the Johnny Mathis record was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And I am a huge fan of the Rankin and Bass version of that, the show as well. Grew up with that. But as I've gotten older, I appreciate a lot of the older carols. Like we listened to them a lot as kids because we used to joke around about my mom's favorite radio station. I think it was called K-Joy or something like that.
K-Joy.
Yes.
K-Joy Classics.
Exactly. And during the rest of the year, it really played kind of awful elevator music. But at Christmas time, it played like all the old traditional carols. And so I really grew up with a love of those. I love like The Holly and the Ivy. I love In the Bleak Midwinter. I love one of my absolute favorites is O Come Emmanuel. And more recently, some of the ones, because for me also, and I know the season is different for everyone in what you celebrate and what you believe, but for me, the Christ is a big part of the season for me. And so I love songs that are Christ-centered. They bring me a lot of joy and peace. And one of my favorite ones that's a little bit newer is Lauren Daigle's Light of the World. I love that. I actually love that whole CD of hers, her Christmas CD, but that is one of my favorite more recent ones. So that's me.
I just realized I have got to give a shout out to the piano guys.
Oh yes, absolutely.
They have been also in more recent years in my adult life. They have been, I have every one of their albums, and their Christmas albums are fantastic. So good. So good. Love the piano guys.
They really
when you
are.
said O Come Emmanuel, I was like, oh, their version of that is so beautiful.
It is. It really is.
My
so
favorite.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We're all we love music. And we all were involved in music growing up, but I was in choir. And so I did a lot of Christmas songs and holiday songs. And so I sung Hanukkah songs and Kwanzaa songs and Yule songs. And I sang a lot of Christmas stuff as well. But if I were to say what my favorite songs were, here's a few of them. I'm really limiting myself here. I love Blow, Blow, Thou Winter Wind. It's actually from a Shakespeare play, but they turned it, John Rutter, one of my favorite composers, turned it into a song. And that's one of my favorite winter songs. I love everything that Pentatonics does. I love them. I love their holiday music. It makes me happy. And as a choir kid, as a choir nerd, I love that they do it all without any instrumentation except themselves. It is powerful, and I love that. Fantastic. But I am a big Christmas carol, like the actual Christmas carols. I love God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. I love O Come Emmanuel, but I also love like Hark the Herald Angels Sing and In the Bleak Midwinter and the Wexford Carol. So I could go on and on, but I will say this. I really enjoy the old ones, but there's some really good modern ones too. So I just enjoy holiday music. And because I'm a December baby and my anniversary is in December and all the big holidays are in December, I fill my life with music as much as I can whenever I can.
I was going to say really quickly, I have to give one more shout out to just some really good traditional classics that we love. We all love the Nutcracker Suite. Thank you, Tchaikovsky. I know it was like one of his least favorite ballets that he ever wrote, but I love the music to it. And I also love the Messiah. As Stacy said, we all grew up musically inclined, and I played the viola growing up, and I played the viola a lot of times. Our community would do Messiah at Christmas time, and love that piece of music. And I know it's a little older, it's a little more traditional, but it's one of my Christmas favorites.
In case you haven't noticed, we get really excited about Christmas music.
Just a little bit. But our guest today, Annie Toro Lopez, geeks out just as much as we do about music. So we'll let her talk to you a little bit about what she loves so much.
You know, I've always been drawn to music, right? Like I've always, even like my father played the harmonica, which was really fun. And so, you know, when you're little, I had 3 older siblings. So like, you know, you danced and that was always fun. And then they had an upright piano in their basement. And so I played that sort of by ear. I did take formal lessons, but it didn't work. So I sort of played by ear, and then later I joined the choir. So I sang in choir in middle school and high school, and I performed. And then when I was a senior, I I made all-state choir, and I sang the solo in all-state choir. So it was a pretty big deal. And life got busy and I didn't make music anymore. Like it's funny, like for a really big part of my life, to be honest. Um at one point I did pick up the violin and I thought I would, you know, teach myself the violin. And then I ended up taking lessons and she was very encouraging. She's like, you really have a feel for it because the violin is a voice instrument, right? And so I sang. And so violin was like a pretty easy. I think I did have a feel for it, but I had 2 kids and then I was divorced and then I was a single mother with 2 kids. And then I put myself through school. So there was no time. And then I taught middle school.
Yeah.
It just didn't, no, right? Didn't happen. So I kind of fast forward, I guess I remarried and my husband like heard me. And in 2019, he bought me a keyboard. And it's nice to be heard. And I knew because I had, I'd never, so I was his first soprano, right? So I never learned the bass clef. I really didn't know how to read it. Like it took a lot of brain power to like, I would be so exhausted. Here, I'll show you. I have it right here. So I taught myself. This was the book I used. And as you can see, it's very well loved and very well used. And I always listened to music. Like I've always listened to music. But like creating it is, of course, a whole different energy, right?
Yeah.
So when my husband got me the keyboard, excuse me, when he got me the keyboard in 2019 for Christmas, it kind of turned out that I had some time to practice,
That's
right?
wonderful.
Like the whole world shut down. So I'm like, okay, why not, right? So I knew right away what I wanted to learn first. And of course, first I had to learn the bass clef, right? Before I could do anything else. But so when my daughter Luna, who's now 31, when she was little and she didn't feel well, we would watch a short film over and over called The Snowman. It has like I don't know if you're familiar, but it has like a brief introspective by David Bowie.
Yeah. And isn't it like almost it has him, there's a little bit of words, but mostly it's music.
It's all music. Yeah. Almost, I don't even, it's all, other than his introspective at the very beginning, it's all music. So that was kind of our like show. And there's, a song there called Walking in the Air. And that was like our song. Whenever I hear it, I think of her. And of course it's used a lot in the holidays. And so it just became a very special, and music is so healing, right? So like we would watch the music and I would hold her and, that's healing, that's communication and all of and touch and love and all of the healing things. And so at some point I came across, came across this book. And right. And so I know I didn't play the piano at the time. Like I doubt, this was years ago. She was little. And it has the piece that, and
I was wondering when I saw it, because I was like, there are no words. What did they decide to tell a story? But it's the pictures with the basic, this is what was going on. And then the music.
Yeah.
That's
So
beautiful.
So we, in our family, like here's like another, so there's a narrative in the book. So it sort of tells the story in the book. Obviously you need like something, right? So then there's narrative in the book and then, so I had, in our family, like we stopped giving gifts a long time ago. Like we don't give each other gifts. We do, experiences. We usually adopt a family and then we give each other experiences. And so I worked I had to learn to read music, learn to play the piano while I was reading music, not just out of my head, like real, no, it goes this way. And so I did that first. And then I learned this. I just learned the very simple, and
I
that was
like
her Christmas gift. So that was what I gave her for Christmas that year. And my husband too, because he had given me the keyboard. But since then I've learned the longer version. Moving and touching and beautiful and carries people and heals people and all of the things that music does. And I think that there's so much, I mean, I guess there's magic there. There's connection there. There's, what people would call God there. There's the flow of that love and that energy and that connection.
one of my favorite things that I would do in high school, and we did it in college too, was help perform in the Messiah around Christmas time. Having people singing as well as all the other instruments, like it
It's so
is
powerful.
so incredible. Yeah,
So powerful.
love
Yeah,
that.
that's phenomenal. I love that. They used to do it here, and I don't know if they still do. And I always kind of wanted to, and I honestly never have. But they used to do a Messiah sing along here with the Colorado Orchestra, and you could just come, and people had I still have my Messiah music.
Me
I
too.
still have it. I still have it. We sing it. Yeah. And and just having that yeah, that's powerful. That's really powerful.
Yeah.
We did when I was in high school, we did a magical dinner. Did you
Oh, how
guys do that?
fun.
It was like
Love magical dinners.
it
Love
was
magical
so
dinners.
much fun. We sang magical music and did the whole, and we had everybody, we voted for a king and queen, and there were like the whole server, all the king and queen, all the way to the, seniors down to the freshmen were the servers. And and you'd come out singing, wassail, wassail, or like, boar's head or whatever. We sang all those throughout the auditorium. We'd stand throughout the auditorium singing. It was really fun.
Music is really life-changing.
Mhm.
So let me tell you really quick about this. My very first solo was a Christmas concert, and I was singing my favorite things from Sound of Music.
Mhm.
That was my very first solo. It's a very simple
Wonderful.
song. It's not,
Yeah, but it's a good, yeah, but everybody loves it. And so, yeah, it's a feel good song.
yeah. So for me, my love of holiday music has always existed throughout my entire life. My family raised us with, every kind of Christmas music imaginable. My mom and dad had all of the vinyl. We were in the land of vinyl.
Yeah,
They had
for sure.
all of the albums from all the different 1960s and 70s Christmas albums, and we would listen to them. And we had a lot of really, I can't think of the holiday season without thinking of music.
Absolutely. Same.
It's,
Yep.
yeah, it's just such a predominant part of the holiday season for me.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Why do you think it's so important to have music at the holiday season? Why do you think that's so important? What makes music special?
Yeah, I think, that's a good question. I think music is about connection. And I think that we seek connection more than ever at the holidays. And I think that's part of the reason it's so painful for some people, because they don't have connection and they are lonely. And so loneliness, I think that's why loneliness, and I think music can alleviate even loneliness, because you are feeling that connection. You have connection to the past, you have connection to your memories, you have connection to each other, who you could pass someone and be singing Jingle Bells, and they can pick up the tune too. Like, you're not alone in that, right? You're never alone in that. all of those songs that we've heard in so many different ways and permutations and instrumental and vocal and all of the things that there's a reason for that. Like there's a reason that they just keep digesting those and, reinventing them and reintroducing them because we're connected to them in a really profound way that becomes a part of our culture. It's so much deeper than even it's so much deeper than even our own family or our own playlist, right? Or, whether it's vinyl or Spotify or whatever, but and mine was always the Boston Pops, the Christmas with them. That was like one of my favorites. That and the Chipmunks, of course, right?
Of
But
course.
but all of those songs that we hear over and over and over, kind of ad nauseum at this sometimes, but they're not about, just that song, but they're about all of the times that it's reverberated, right? All of the music that reverberates throughout that season, I think. And I think it can, it can go both ways, right? I mean, I think the holidays are just hard for some people. And I think it's so important to acknowledge that so that people hear that they're seen and that that people, know that it's hard, that it's not, everything isn't, especially like now, let's face it, like it's a tough time for people. So, but I do think that music can bring us, joy, can bring us healing for sure. I use music to heal. I shared with Stacy one of my many playlists, right? And I think that again, like, as far as the holidays, like it can be healing. It's connection. So yeah.
Agreed.
I think that connection is really powerful. I was going to say that the holidays are hard when you've lost people that you love that aren't with you anymore. And there is that it all comes back to what we always talk about with having a growth mindset and having that attitude. You have to mentally get yourself into the space where you realize, okay, I'm going into this season without my mother, without my sister, without my best friend, whoever it is you may have lost. I'm going into this season without them. What can I do to commemorate the love that's still there? Because the love never goes away.
Exactly.
And the grief is always there too, but how we choose to acknowledge it is a choice that we make. I think that so often in life, music can be so healing, as you mentioned, but if we don't actually let ourselves be healed, it's a conscious decision we have to make.
It is. And that's what we've talked about before too, like, and then that I talk about a lot is, taking control of the voice in your head. And I think that that's just, I've really, really done some deep, deep digging for myself. What does resilience look like? Like people talk about resilience and people talk, and they kind of throw that word around, but it's like, okay, well, how do I be resilient, right? Like, how do you do that? Like, how does that look like on a day-to-day or moment-to-moment basis? And we talk about making choices that are good for us. But again, like what does that take? And I think that what it takes is to speak, taking control of the voice in your head and speaking to yourself as if you were your best friend. Like talk to yourself in the way that you would talk to and encourage other people.
Yeah.
Because we don't talk to ourselves that way.
We don't. And I think
No.
especially, like you said, especially during the holidays when we're needing the resilience or whatever, because we're trying to get through because we've lost somebody or something. Because I think we've talked about it before too. I definitely think, we've lost both of our parents. We find the grief in that at the holiday season for sure. But also, I think there's a lot of people out there with autoimmune and chronic illness who find grief in the life that they had previously. And I think that that's where we you know, like you said, where we have to take control of the voice in our head. And sometimes
Yes.
that's easier said than done. But I think music is a very
It's powerful.
beautiful way to help with that. It is so powerful. So
It's
I
huge.
have a question for you too, because I know, and this is probably a hard one because all of us that love music know it's a challenging one. But do you have a particular holiday song that is your favorite, like your favorite overall?
Ooh, gosh. Wow. Okay. Probably okay, the one that I can play that I like to play is Green Sleeves. I do have this though, see?
Ooh, Christmas songs.
Yay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna cheat here a little. Oh, Good King Wenceslas was another one we came in singing during the I love that one too. During the magical dinner. So we'd come in, it was so much fun. Um, yeah, I love playing uh I love playing Green Sleeves. Like it's something I can play. I think I learned it young. So what child is this? Like it's such a beautiful, it's so beautiful. But that's the one that first comes to mind. And that like I can feel that when I say that, I feel it in my heart. So I think, I think that's gotta be pretty close to true. I love um it was the first Christmas like song that I wanted to learn when I got my keyboards. That was fun. But yeah. So what about you guys? What are your favorites?
I have so many I like, but my
I have a lot I like too.
favorite overall, like I said, I love the Messiah as a whole, like that one.
Oh yeah. As far as like a
It's,
piece of yeah.
yeah. But my favorite is probably O Come, Emmanuel. I
Oh, I
really
love
like
that
that
one too. Yes, I do too. I do
because it's
too.
got kind of it's a Christmas song and it is spiritual. And I know like if you're not Christian, it probably wouldn't be one you enjoyed as much. But I love it has a very old sort of ancient feel to it too, which I love, like the style of the music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. What
Well,
about you,
both of
Casey?
you have picked two of my very favorites. I love Green Sleeves, and
I
O Come
love
Emmanuel
playing it.
is
I
one of my
love
favorites. But I love the old carols,
Yeah.
the really old ones like Wexford and Coventry and
mhm.
Stratford. I love the old carols. There's
Yeah.
something so
It's
beautiful
so
about
beautiful.
them. That's why music is so powerful, is because it's
Mhm.
primal. Music is primal. It's something that has always existed, that people have always made. It is a
Mhm.
necessary part of anything important in our lives, really. I mean, think about it.
Absolutely.
Weddings, brisses, it doesn't matter what
Mhm.
you're doing, there's music. There's
Yeah.
always going to be music. And
Yes. Anything ritual, any ritual, again, like you
right.
said, forever. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you all for joining us. As we've mentioned a few different times, we love our holiday music. It is a great part of the season that makes us all very happy. And it's one of the great ways that we find joy. And honestly, when you have like autoimmune and chronic illness, it's a very easy way to find joy. Turn on the radio, go to YouTube, whatever it is. We are going to have on YouTube, we are going to create a playlist of the songs that we talked about that are our favorite, Nanny's favorite, and we'll have that. We will also have a link to the YouTube playlist in our show notes. We wish all of you a wonderful and peaceful holiday season. And please remember that you are worthy of joy. Disease does not define your life, you do.